Nerdrotic.com.
I remember sitting here when WandaVision came out like a fucking year ago and saying that I was like kind of meh on the first 2 episodes, and it immediately fucking went down after that. It went down for everybody after that. It fell apart. I feel like that's what'll happen with this show too, but I gotta be real, I did think that the first episode was pretty good.
It felt like it had like it was taking bits of Venom, you know, where you had like the disembodied voice talking to him, and it was
very Venom-like too.
Yeah,
the voice.
Yeah,
Yep.
now that you mention
it was very Venom-like. I kept thinking about that the whole time. I'm like, all right, you know, how's it going to be unique to its own here? But I still enjoyed it. Didn't take me out completely, but I kept thinking about it. I'm like, this is just like Venom.
Yeah, because I don't know the character at all. So I was actually intrigued by it because I was like, oh, this actually seems like a pretty interesting character. I want to know more about it. But going back to Ryan's point, I felt the same way with a lot of these shows, and every single time it went the same direction. They get you in with that first episode or 2, and then from there it just goes downhill very quickly.
That's why I didn't watch it.
It's only 6 episodes, and we all know Disney shows an end disappointment. So it's like I don't see this deviating from the pattern.
Yeah. Sorry. I liked it a lot. I don't know Moon Knight at all. So I was literally just going off what the show was presenting to me. I thought Oscar Isaac's performance was brilliant. I thought he was great. I thought he had some really good range on him. His accent's fine as a Brit. I gotta critique that, I guess. But I liked the interactions that he had with the members of the staff. I liked the discombobulation of where he just would suddenly turn up in places. I did actually enjoy those scenes where he would be blacking out, Mark would be taking over, which we didn't see, and then he'd be coming back to Steven. Sorry, apologize, Oscar Isaac.
With a V.
With a Steven. And so I really did. I liked that a lot, and I actually quite enjoyed the ending, just having that little snippet, that little teaser to take into episode 2.
Yeah.
Obviously, we have seen a scene which has not been in the show yet, which is Girl Boss does girl boss shit as Mark pats her on the back and tells her she's amazing.
That was awesome. That was awesome.
So I am concerned because we are dealing with Marvel and the Marvel formula, which is sad because I was speaking to somebody, I can't remember who I was speaking to, it might have even been on the real BBC, but if you took Marvel off this, like if this wasn't a Marvel thing, if this was just a superhero show from a studio that they had done, then I would actually be really anticipating what's coming next. Whereas because it's Marvel and we've already seen a little bit, you kind of like, there's almost like a defeated side to you, which is just like you just know this is going to start falling apart.
Yep.
Whether it be episode 2 or episode 3.
That's why I'm not watching it, dog. I'm not watching the entire show. I'm like, you have to come out with an entire series that is good, and everybody's like, "Oh man, go watch the series." Before I'm interested in watching the first episode.
I only watched it because I knew I was going to be on this show and we were probably going to talk about it. And I'm like, I'll watch it. I wouldn't have otherwise, though. I'll be honest. I wouldn't.
My main issue with the show is I think that they made Steven too goofy. If he started off as just a normal person and then things started getting weird, I think I would have had a lot more investment in the character. But he's just kind of goofy, and there's like no, he's already kind of a weirdo, and there's nothing to really kind of latch onto. So I thought the blackout stuff was actually done very well.
Yeah.
But it's that rather than have that slow, steady decline into what the fuck is going on with me. You kind of already have this established, and there's nothing for you to latch onto.
I think that's kind of the point of his character, is that he's someone who's very fucking socially awkward. He is a weirdo, and all of a sudden he's thrown into this situation that even for a normal person would be a struggle, and for him he's completely fucking fallen apart. I think that's kind of the point of that character, but I have no idea how these characters are in the books. I just don't know. I don't know anything about Moon Knight as a character, so I go into this completely blind.
I've always heard him described as Marvel's Batman. That's basically it.
Other than relatively recently, which I haven't read, probably since the Warren Ellis run, which has been 5-6 years now. Basically,
he's a popular guy right now.
Yeah, right. It started out without the dissociative disorder. It was just 3 different personas. Instead of just having a Bruce Wayne, he had 3 different ones. He's like, I'm a cab driver to get into the underground. I've got the billionaire playboy, and I'm also Mark Spector. He started out as just Mark Spector.
So you're saying that he's not dissociative identity disorder. He just has personas
he
that
had three personas
kind of,
that they
not it's not a mental disorder. It's just what he does.
Yes. That's how it started
that is completely different than this show.
Then they turned it in the comics into a disorder, which still worked, right? But that was much later. That was much, much later because they've never... It's like Moon Knight's had good runs and then it would fizzle out. That's what happens all the time. They just never know what to fucking do because it's just Marvel. But that goes way, way, way back. But why did they take Stevie, and they fundamentally change his character?
It's Steven.
Steven. They take it and that's the billionaire playboy persona and they turn him into a beta gift shop fucking he's just a retailer guy at the gift shop. He's not even a tour guy. So why did they make that creative decision? Why did they make him a little beta? I thought to make Mark look stronger, but probably. I mean, they didn't want him. They also didn't want to use Bruce, but it's also could be potentially MCU. It could be just like so we can lead the beta around. Now, I hear he kind of disappears as the show goes on, and it gets into more Mark Spector. So that might not be it. We'll see. They're going to focus on the mental illness of it, but he's not getting any help. He's not seeing a psychiatrist or a psychologist or even a therapist.
He's seeing the gold statue guy. That's kind of therapy.
Yeah. He thinks he has a sleepwalking problem. That's what he thinks, right?
Yeah.
He thinks.
Why
did
he put the sand
problem,
though? If he has a
so he can tell if he's walked. That's why he put the tape so he can tell if he's broken.
Thought it was some kind of like supernatural thing.
No.
No, he said I got to get my 10,000 steps in when I'm asleep.
Yeah, what's up with the glass and the shoes? What is that?
Well, that was that was Ethan Hawke's character.
That's the bad guy, right?
Yeah.
And I don't think that's been answered yet.
He sounds like he has gone through the exact same thing that Steven has gone through.
So he's keeping himself awake with the glass.
That's kind of what I think, or making sure that if he does step in those shoes, that he would wake up because of the pain or be brought back because of the pain. That's my interpretation of it.
Nice. Yeah, I like that.
So his other personality is this evil god character. Okay.
Maybe. But just literally just what Gary said about how the character has been changed already turns me off to it, because if you do take these personas and you use one of them who was this playboy billionaire and you turn them into a beta cuck, it's like what the fuck are you doing?
What's the point? See,
you could tell that story with the original intention. If it is a billionaire playboy guy that all of a sudden he starts having problems and you still want to do your dissociative identity disorder, you could still tell that story and have it be, interesting and unique.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just because I like what they do with the idea of this guy who has no business being in these situations and is socially awkward, having to deal with that. If you already have the story written for you, use the fucking source material.
Exactly. Everything they're doing is eventually going to go off the rails, no matter how good it seems at first. It
typical Disney.
And I just can't be invested in any of the stuff they're doing. And that's not even just Disney as much as it's just Hollywood in general. It's hard to have faith in anything unless it's individual people, like something like the guys with the Cobra Kai guys or something like that. You know what I mean? I'm still worried, that now Netflix is involved. But generally speaking, everything involved with Hollywood, I have little to no faith in.
Nerdrotic.com. Please subscribe.
If you like what I do here, please consider subscribing to the channel and liking and sharing the videos. It really does help. And if you did this with your favorite YouTuber as well, I'm sure they would appreciate it as much as I do.